What is up, Moody?
What's up? What's up? Oh man, just life in general. Got to drive down to Richmond today to meet halfway with Joe. Give him a whole bunch of his stuff back that he left up here. Like when he came to visit. So
Okay, okay.
that's
You
like
gonna
the biggest, most intensive thing I have to do today.
okay, yeah. You gonna be staying there for a long time, or is it just kind of like going there, popping in and popping back?
Yeah. We just turn it around, but I mean, we'll obviously driving that far. We'll probably hang with him. Get something to eat or something. But
Yeah, I was
that's
about
gonna
to
be the end
say
of it.
you got to get something to eat, like
Yeah,
especially going to
exactly.
Richmond. That's
For
what's up.
sure.
That's what's up. Um,
What about you?
you want to? For me, it's not much. Moving out this weekend. So
Hmm.
after I get off of this, it's just gonna be back to packing and
Yeah,
whatnot.
boxes
So
and shit.
yeah, but other than that, yeah, just been chilling. Just been chilling. Saw some movies.
Hmm.
I saw you play this game on it's a PlayStation game.
Uncharted.
The Not Uncharted. It's damn. I just called it. It was Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. I
Have you
haven't.
heard of it?
I was.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm aware of it. Yeah, one of the
Yeah,
horror
I'm aware
games.
of
Yeah.
it, but I've never played it. But they just came out with a movie of it, and I'm not sure. I'm sure if people that are very familiar with the game, they're like, "Oh man, like so many Easter eggs," or probably didn't live up
Yeah.
to their expectations. I was like, "This is not that bad of a movie. Not that bad." It's like not the best. It's not the best. It's pretty
Hmm.
predictable. It's kind of like a teenage slasher,
Yeah.
but mixed. I also described it as Groundhog's Day mixed with Final Destination.
Mm, okay. That's a terrible day. Damn.
Yeah,
But it's not the concept of those two movies. So you keep reliving the same day and death is hunting you the entire time. Like that's the worst day
That like
ever. Shit.
exactly. That's pretty much the premise, and then each time you wake up, you die differently,
Jeez.
and
Yeah. No,
so
that's terrible. I don't want to play that.
I gave it a 2.5. I said it's a no rush
Mm,
stream. It's like you're not
okay.
missing much, but it's a fun watch. But that wasn't even that's not my Percy. Um, we can start with yours since yours is more guided towards actual television and not
Oh
capitalism.
yeah. I was
They're all
gonna I meant to
capitalism,
put
but
it here, but like in asterisk, I was gonna say in my Van Lathan voice or Midnight Boys voice. Either way, we are so back, baby. Like for sure. We are so and I was like, it's funny because I put this on there before even their episode came out. So
yeah,
like when he said it, I was like, you goddamn right, we're back. Andor season two is out. And I can't contain myself. So you just need to hurry up and watch. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Because I know you didn't watch season one, and this is
I did
not one
watch
of
season
those where
one.
you can. Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I watched season one. I
Oh,
watched it
okay.
like haphazardly, but I watched it enough. But
Yeah.
um,
Because
I go ahead.
for me to be caping and like tell you that, oh, Andor is like the one you've been looking for when you say, can we get away from the Skywalkers? I'm like, that's
Yeah,
exactly what Andor is.
yeah.
It's a normal guy figuring out his way to fight the fucking Empire. And have you watched any of the first three episodes?
So this was my thing. I saw it
Mhm.
was supposed to come out this week, right? And so I was like, all right, cool. Let me watch all the recaps and stuff because I don't have time to watch through season one right now. I was like, let me watch through like Mana Recap and other
Mhm.
things, right? I watched Mana Recap. He was speaking so fast and it was like so late.
Yeah.
It was so late. I was like, man, I need to watch this at another time. And then I saw
He's the
that
best one. He's the best
then I
one
saw
that
they also released 3 episodes.
Mhm.
And they're like the shortest one was about 42 minutes. So I was like, okay, I got a little bit of time to,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to catch up before next week's episode. So
Yeah,
I'll do that.
it's pretty dope to think about because it's like, okay, cool, you're giving us like a 2.5 hour movie effectively, like
Yeah.
every week. So, I mean,
Are they
3-part
releasing
movie,
3 episodes every week?
yes.
Or
Yeah.
oh,
It's
okay.
12 episodes, so it's only running for a month. But
Or
that's where I'm
okay.
like, this will be
Okay.
it's
I didn't know
burning
that.
through. It's burning through, and after every week, it's a time jump. It's another year. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying? Because Rogue One that happens in two BBY
okay.
when he's able to like get the message to Rogue One or whatever. So anyway, we're so back, baby. It's really good. And
The we're back bit. It also Sean on the big picture also does it, and he uses it mostly for like when movies are like really hitting in the theaters and like when movies are not.
yeah,
That's one of my favorite bits. Like
yeah.
just like man, we're so done, or like oh man, we're so back. Like just the on and off switch of it at a whim.
Yeah.
That's always like a very enjoyable bit. I get a kick out of. I got
Mhm.
two. I got two of them. Still, I guess regards to television, but it is the NFL draft. We are about 35 minutes. 55 minutes, I should say. No, my
Mhm.
math is bad. It's early. 45 minutes, I guess. No,
Noon?
35.
Noon?
Yeah. Yeah. Try to get
35.
noon.
I'm like,
35.
Jesus Christ.
My math is so bad. It's early, man. I just woke up like not too long ago.
We just said
35
it's
minutes.
35 minutes from 12. That's not early. Your math is bad. That's all it is.
No, I'm
But
saying
yeah,
it's
go
early
ahead.
for me because I just woke
Oh,
up.
yeah. Yes.
But yeah, it's the draft. Day 3 is about to start at noon.
Mhm.
And we could talk about our teams. Your Jags made big plays, got Travis Hunter. Our Commanders, I feel like we're having a good day. Good
Mhm.
2 days. But the story right now is Shador Sanders is still available
Mhm.
at this current moment. And then the 4th round is about to start in the draft. And that is surprising. And I haven't done my due diligence on quarterbacks because thank God this is the first time, and I hope this is permanent that I don't have to look at
Yeah.
college quarterbacks.
At least for 20 years. You don't
Yeah.
have to worry about it.
So like only thing I've seen is just like the little bit I've seen him play back like during the football season.
Mhm.
I'm not familiar with any of the quarterbacks outside of Cam Ward. And only reason I watch Cam Ward is because he's a Hurricane and I'm a Hurricanes fan. So
Mhm.
I don't think he's this bad or this overrated as a player, but I'm just like, man, is it what is it? Shador Sanders to
I
still be
messaged
available right now.
my coworker was messaging me on Slack last night because he's actually at work still watching it, and I wasn't paying attention to the draft. We got Travis Hunter, and I told you like literally, I said wake me when the draft, first round of the draft, and I don't give a shit. And
Mhm.
then I'm back to hibernation. You know what I'm saying? After 2 days ago, for NFL is concerned, but yeah, I messaged him back. He was like, "Yo, this is fucking crazy," and I was like, "Yo, there's got to be
Yeah.
collusion afoot. It's collusion afoot." That's what I messaged him, like an old detective or something. I'm like, "Yo, nah, that ain't even right." When we talk about like what are the traits that you want your quarterback to have as a head coach, I'm pretty sure accuracy is number one. You would rather have the most accurate quarterback than have like. If we're just going to talk about like what's on the field than say that he doesn't have the strongest arm. He was passing for 70 yards. He hasn't thrown under, or not 70 yards, 70% completion. He's never thrown under 70% completion. So what the fuck is happening? The only thing that could make sense, which we've never seen a fall this drastic, especially considering it was at least top 10 like the whole year. Like even the latest was like the Saints at 9, right?
I
Up until
mean,
this week, it
I'd
was the
say the last
Steelers.
few. I feel like the last month he hasn't been in the first round. It's only been some
Well,
people that like that'd be like for like because quarter teams are quarterback needy and they'll overreach
mhm,
for a quarterback. But
sure.
I've seen him fall out of the first round more so than not.
Sure.
More
In
recently.
initial mocks and everything, we have him 1 and 2. You agree? It was like 1 and 2, or he was going top 3, whatever the fuck, because the Giants
Yeah,
was taking. I'm
he was
saying
in the
early
top
on,
10. Yeah.
early on, he was permanent top 10, and even up to like you said, like this past like month or so, we didn't even hear about sliding until like
I'd
the
say
latest
within the
I heard
last
was the
month.
Steelers. Yeah, no, the
Yeah, I
latest I
said
heard
like
was
yeah,
the
seeing
Steelers.
him at the Steelers and like or
Yeah,
people trading into the 20s and stuff.
for that to there's something I don't know. Because I'm not going to sit here and say, I mean, obviously we don't fucking know him, but I'm like, there's no way there could be a quarterback with an attitude problem that fucking bad. Like the most important position on your
Yeah.
field. That doesn't make sense. So this is anti-black as I'm concerned. Like there's nothing else. This is anti-black. Like he has everything. He has an
I mean,
engaged
there's other
father that knows the
quarterbacks that went
business.
ahead of him that were black.
I know. But this guy's getting an unfair shake. So I don't give a shit. Anti-blackness in the NFL. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's just surprising. We'll see what happens. I think teams that could probably take him still, maybe the Raiders as a backup. I would love him on the Raiders behind Geno and Pete Carroll. I think that would be great. The Rams would be interesting. Yeah. The Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets.
Dolphins still need a guy. Just all like maybe the regular bottom field. I mean, because at this point, this isn't even a swing at this point. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Once you take Shador. So it's like, the only question is like, all right, do you have like your actual quarterback? Are you sure? That's the only
thing with all those teams that I just named out is that they're in big cities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's like, do you like, even if you bring them in as like a 4th rounder or a 5th rounder, like you're still bringing the circus of, you know, the Sanders name. You know what I'm saying?
I don't believe and that's some BS.
When I say circus, I mean just like you can't just stop the paparazzi and the reporters and things from like there's going to be a heightened environment. Though I think that's why, even though it's Vegas, having Pete Carroll there, who's done it in USC, it seems like it'd be a good fit.
Yeah. There's been famous people before. Like, that's some BS to, like, if we're going to use your example to say that
we're getting in a new age where, like, we're getting in a new age, especially with NIL and all of this stuff. And I'm not saying NIL is bad. I'm just saying, like, these guys are coming. They're coming in a little bit more self-sufficient than they were before in any era because they're not broke college
because they got money
anymore. Yeah,
exactly.
And especially this guy, because he wasn't going to be broke anyways because he's the son of Deion Sanders. So
exactly. That's why I think it's if that was going to be more real, I think it's the whole circus thing. People don't want to deal with Deion, which is ridiculous. Yeah. Like, you can't help who you're born to. You know what I'm saying? There's literally nothing that Shador can do about it. Unless he went in there and said, fuck the GM in like every interview. Like, I'm going to do what I want when I get to the team. Like, he must have said that in interviews to every fucking team. That's the only thing that could have been. Or unless he went in there and said, I'm going to the Rams, you know, don't draft me. That's the only other thing that could be happening. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I see my boy Josh on here talking about bro getting blackballed, literally. So he agreed with you. So that's
absolutely anti-blackness in the NFL.
Speaking of the NFL, which they're in the off season, but this is wrestling, and Wrestlemania is over. And there's no off season in wrestling. But we, as we like to track our pop-up shows, I always, just to put this out to the viewing public, and we have this on record, I gave Moody this option. And he made the decision of the directions. And he said that our records, as it currently stands on our pop-up records, he is currently leading 13-5-3. So 13 wins, 5 losses, and three ties. And so that is, he said, the end of season 1.
I think I'm 14. I had 13 wins before WrestleMania. I think I'm at 14.
No, we're count. I went and counted.
Yeah. Okay.
You can go ahead and count afterwards, but I'm pretty sure I counted because these are all just being copied and pasted from the last one. Oh, that sounded condescending.
No, not condescending at all. I was like, I could have sworn I was looking at 13-3-3 the entire time. Like for like when we've been on a long wait, basically. We've been looking at 13-3 or I've been looking at 13-3-3.
When was that? Anyway, that's getting away from the point. That's getting away from the point. This is the end of season 1. We are officially on season 2. We can litigate off script what we think the actual records are. I wish you just spent the time and just looked at it and try to fix it, but that's another conversation. We'll debate that during the show if we have to.
Doors opening. Step back to allow customers to exit.
Cutting through the crowd. Ahaba Shahid, Samson, you're my tag team partner.
The French Fried Bro, Moody. This is the Wrestlemania podcast.
A weekly stroll through the avenue of wrestling.
Follow Follow us on our socials. Engage with this YouTube channel, please. Mostly where we put our stuff out live every Saturday at 11:30 here for Wrestlemania.
What up, everyone? Welcome to episode 42 of the Wrestlemania podcast. Season 2 officially underway, and we are fresh off the heels of Wrestlemania 41. Controversial in some manners. We'll talk about it. 42. Was that Jackie Robinson?
Jackie Robinson, yep.
That was easy. Do you have any other 42s that we want to call out? Mariano Rivera. He was 40.
I was going to say, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm a black man. It's Jackie Robinson. I'm not overthinking. That's the only one that matters.
We went a little long with the Percy's, so we could cut it quick. But yeah, episode 42. It's a new season, and we could talk about, it's the week after WrestleMania. A lot of, Raw after Mania is supposed to be big. A lot of people held that in high regard. We had a pretty nice SmackDown. And then, there was continuation of storylines in NXT, especially after Stand and Deliver. So let's get into it. There was some current event, actually, that did happen during, that was announced during WrestleMania, that WWE acquired AAA. Mexico wrestling promotion, legendary Mexico wrestling promotion. Didn't we gave them a back in the book of wrestling a few weeks ago? They had like the oldest belt.
Yeah, it's like over 100 years old. It's like 110 years old,
something like that.
Yeah,
1923.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? I know you're big on the independent scene and actually the smaller circuits.
Yeah, immediately what came to my head was, is that Vikingo? When I was watching, the actual press conference when everybody's sitting at the table, because immediately I know who Vikingo, El Hijo del Vikingo, and I was just like, hold on a second, what the fuck? And that's before they make the announcement. They're saying it right then. My next thought was, it could be a hostile corporate takeover, because like the sitting president, like the woman who was sitting in the middle with the shades on, she didn't say a fucking word the whole time. She didn't say one word, and I was like, oh wow, what
is that Sofia Vergara TV show where she's like a mob boss?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. It's on Netflix though.
Yeah. They showed her at during WrestleMania. I was like, yo, she looks like she looks like
she didn't crack one smile. She didn't crack. She wasn't happy. She didn't do nothing. So that's what took me out of it personally, because I was like, oh shit, like we'll get some AAA action and stuff. And really, I guess as fans wise, I should be looking forward to Worlds Collide, because that's really what the announcement was. Also, was the return of Worlds Collide, because Worlds Collide was originally when they were trying to do the NXT global localization, and it was NXT and NXT UK that they were getting to collide basically. And now we got AAA. The thing for me is, I'm wondering I'm sure there's going to be main roster guys on that show, because I mean they had like Rey Mysterio, the most famous
logo had like NXT, then the WWE logo, and then AAA. But I wasn't sure if the WWE logo was just being used as like the X in it.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. That's exactly what I was thinking too. So I was like, maybe it'll be just straight NXT and AAA. But with all the guys that were up there, I mean, we got the main roster luchadors that were standing there. Like Andrade was there.
You seemed apparently people were flipping him, saying he was super bored and like he did not want to be there.
Yeah. And actually, AAA is actually pretty fucking young. We're older than AAA. It's 32. CMLL.
CMLL. That's what it was.
Yeah. CMLL is the really old one. Yeah. But regardless, as a fan, sure, bring more luchadors. As an American, hey, these corporate structures just gonna manifest destiny. You know what I'm saying? They're just gonna take over everything. This is the issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you define indie now? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's basically anything that's not WWE, obviously, but like,
I mean, if they allow them just to keep doing what they're doing and just have a financial backing, like,
sure,
like just don't touch them. Just don't touch them. Like, it's like how much is TKO touching WWE? We'll talk about that. But
exactly. How much does WWE touch ECW? How much did AEW touch Ring of Honor? None of them are the same.
No, I mean ECW is different. ECW is different, but
How is it different? It's a promotion.
it's their property.
Now
They
it
own
is
that.
because they bought it. They didn't own original ECW.
And they never did. So like that's not them touching it. Like, so what do you mean? They ruined original ECW. The ECW.
Okay, I got what you're saying now. No, you're right. You're right. I got the clarification. I know what you're saying.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, it's not the same though when you think of it. Either way, that's obvious. But that's all I got to say about that. What's your thoughts?
I mean, it was surprising. Not surprising. I mean, this is WWE's business since the 80s. It's just buying up smaller promotions and things of that nature. It is a pipeline, I guess. You know, there is a kind of direct pipeline for them to kind of transition. It's almost just kind of NXT Mexico, if you want to call it. Maybe that they might change the name to that. Who knows? Like what this might be, but I think it's better to just keep it AAA and keep it with the history. Again, I think the biggest distinguisher is where does WWE place itself within all of this? If you're gonna do all these things and work with TNA and buy AAA and do all these things, maybe even because then they do stuff with they weren't doing New Japan. They have what's the other Japanese promotion out there? Ada, I think it's the All American, not All American.
Oh, I'm not aware.
I think it's All Japan New Wrestling.
Okay, sure. I'm not aware.
All Japan Wrestling, something like that. But anyways, they're working with their Japanese promotions and stuff. So I'm like, are you still gonna always be like, yeah, but war guys are never gonna lose?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where do you put yourselves in these barometers, or at least the wrestlers independently? Like, can somebody from AAA beat somebody in WWE?
No, you know that's not gonna happen. No. Why would they? We don't know who.
The same company, right? They're the same company.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I mean, like, again, just from a corporate structure, right? It's like, yeah,
obviously
they're the same company,
structure.
but like, obviously, this is like Google losing to Bing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Right? But I think that's enough on them, though. I'm not as well versed anyway. I just know that I know some people's faces, and I know that woman did not. The sitting president of that company, did not look happy. I know that.
Yeah, or like I said, she just like a serious ass,
boss
ass.
Yeah, maybe she's just like you said. Maybe she's just like a drug trafficker, like you said in the show. But yeah, 3 pay-per-views or 3 points on the line, right?
3 points on the line, and I went 2-1.
Yeah, and I told you, I was like, yo, I cannot with this. I cannot with Hank and Tank. So I'm not even upset at this. I knew for a fact, and I have never given anyone, but I was like, my fandom won't allow me to pick. Allow me to pick them. So
let's make this an easy walk through. Let's go through all 3 at the same time. All three shows. So there's NXT Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2. What was, I guess, your favorite from each?
Oh, favorite from each. Okay. Let's go NXT Stand and Deliver. I'll go. Probably the main event. Like having Obafemi still, retain over Trick and Javon.
Yeah.
If that was the most, like, Javon just looked like $1 million. You know what I'm saying? He can do no wrong at this point, and it's like, as bouncy as he is, it's like, please don't get hurt. That's kind of what I think for him, because he's putting on muscle and shit, but it's like me putting on muscle. When you got a slim frame, you got to maintain that shit. And granted, he's in his 20s, so obviously he can.
I feel like he's got Montez Ford body before Montez Ford bulked up.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. That's probably my favorite off of there, and then.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Even though I was like, man, I wish Oba sold some of the stuff at the end because they were kind of fast paced, hitting all their finishers, and then Javon looked like he was about to take Oba at the end of it, hit him with like multiple finishers at that point, and then all of a sudden, I think Trick came in. I forget the exact sequence because it's been a while.
Yeah,
but I remember the sequence happened. I was like, man, Oba just kind of got up and kind of no-sold.
Exactly.
Javon's kind of finish, kind of move sets that he put out there. So I was like, I understand it. You had to go home, but
For
I
timing.
wish there was a
that's
little bit of, the timing made it look like, man, Javon did all that, and this dude just got up. And again, that's Oba's character as well, so not too much to hate, but I thought that was great. Also, honorable mention contender, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Jordan Grace, Jada Parker was great as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Night one, it was Seth. Seth winning.
Yeah.
Like I said, I called that, like, I don't know, maybe even a year ago, because I was like, they're not going to make him, he's not losing 3 times in a row at Mania. That just doesn't make sense. And on top of that, the ending of that is the best part, which obviously we'll get into. I'd say the other one from night one, for me personally, would also be Tiffany and Charlotte, honestly, because it was, we were on the phone that whole time, but I was like, it was shaky, but then I realized that as I'm watching, because it was very hard hitting, and immediately I was like, oh shit, Charlotte's calling it. You know what I'm saying? Like, calling it in the ring, and I think Tiffany obviously just isn't used to that. And that's why it was so, like, shaky, and I hadn't thought about that initially, but, like, because Charlotte was laying into her. Charlotte being, like, significantly taller, taller, I said tall her, anyway, taller, you can just see, like, when she's making contact, like, or she has more range on her, so it's like, it feels like those chops that just have that extra, like, whip, you know what I'm saying, of impact, And I'm just like, she's really giving these to her, and I could have sworn she hit her in, like,
because again, Charlotte's gonna make you look good. She's gonna make you look good. There was one point where I saw, like, she was about to Irish whip her, and, like, I saw they were communicating. I was like, all right, they're good. And then that's when I sent you that Barry clip where I was like, when it was Gene was yelling at Sally because Sally was just kind of giving, like, a poor acting performance, and then he was like, just act. And then when she fucking started, then after she kind of blew up and, like, did well, I was like,
I didn't realize that was the context you were giving it to me in. So that does make sense now that you're explaining that.
Yeah, I was like, Charlotte was basically Gene, and then Sally was Tiffany. And it's like, when you look at it, and that's the entire segment. Like, or at least that's the working bit of it. It's like, that's what they're trying to get through. It's like, yeah, Tiffany is good, and Charlotte is going to make her look good.
Yeah.
He made her look good. Like, and now we'll get into, like, what's coming for Tiffany right now. But I think, again, this goes back that I think it was supposed to be Charlotte being the face going into this, as much of a face,
for sure,
and Tiffany being the heel in this situation. But again, the audience was not having that. And so Charlotte's going to have to play Charlotte's going to have to play the heel. She's going to make you look good. And Tiffany's just not used to playing a face, but she made her look good enough to be a face.
Yeah, it just felt like during the match, she was like a step or a step and a half behind, like, the whole time, until, like, you got, and basically, honestly, the whole match, until they got to, like, the closing sequence, where I was just like, even the prettiest moonsault ever didn't, like, I didn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Granted, that could have been because of Charlotte, but, like, I was like, all right. But either way, that
also,
happened.
You just trying not to mess up. It's your first WrestleMania, like, singles match.
Exactly.
Like, you're just trying not to mess up. So again, when you're working with a pro like Charlotte, that's what you're gonna get. But yeah, dude, man, Seth Rollins, man, cinema, best thing at WrestleMania. Period. I don't care. Bianca, Io, and Rhea.
Put some respect on it. Chill out. Hold on.
That is great. That is a great wrestling match. That is a great wrestling match. That is the best of night 2. That, again, I'm biased because Seth is my guy. This was the best thing. And honestly, it played out better than how we booked it. We talked about Paul Heyman sliding the chair in and them fighting for it, and then the curves. Nah. Giving Punk
straight up turn.
Low blow. Giving Punk Roman a chair, low blow, and then Seth just asking for the chair. And then I'm just like, bro.
It was a low blow and, like, a mashing, because he, like, did side to side in his nuts. He was under Roman. I don't know if you caught that, but he definitely.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he literally goes side to side, like he's trying to grind his balls into dust. So I was like, yo, that's the only time I've ever seen it. And that's why that was so good to me, was because of, like, really it's Paul Heyman's face acting, where he's just so, like, I'm trying to think, like, what's a little devil called? Like a sprite, you know what I'm saying? He just looks like a fucking gremlin. You know what I'm saying? As
Yeah.
he's doing that, like the most sinister face, like, or conniving face, like, yeah, you son of a bitch. I had this coming for you, Roman, which makes sense, obviously,
Yeah.
as Seth made pointed out to him. But
Yeah, so I was so happy. I popped. As soon as as soon as he low blowed him, I was like, yes, he won. I was so happy that Seth won at that point. I was like, I thought Punk had it, especially with the video package and Living Color, seeing him out there with Paul during the entrance. I was like, man, like he got this. He got this.
When I saw in Living Color, because obviously I've never seen them in person, I was like, oh, they're all black.
Yeah,
percentage just went up 0.3%. Just had a 30% rise. I was like, oh shit, because I was like, Seth is definitely winning this, but I saw them with the band. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's the last thing. Yeah,
loved it. Other great card. I thought night one was actually coming out of it. It's funny because night one it was a little bit more uneven, but it was still I think it was a better night compared to night two. Because let's get to night two. Night two is what we said. What we both agree, Io, Bianca, and Rhea is easily the best match of the night. Probably the best wrestling match. Period. This weekend,
for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the timing of that. Like also,
we got 3 5-star matches. We like just far as like match of the year nominees. We have 4 this week. 2 from the AEW and 2 from WWE, at least, if we want to count something from NXT. But
Io, Bianca, and Rhea is definitely nominated for sure, like guaranteed.
And so I think Seth, Roman, and Punk.
It's in one of those columns, like the OMG moment or something. It's definitely in the uppies for sure.
That's a match of the year. That's a match of the year. That's all. That's an OMG. Sure. That's an OMG and a match of the year nominee to me. But
that's the same thing with Cody finishing his story, right? So it's like when you get to the major storylines, there could be like any number of slots that they fall into for sure. But yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think after that, because that kicked off the show, then the card, it went Drew, Damian, Braun, Penta, Finn, Dom for the Intercontinental, Randy, Joe Hendry, surprise, AJ Styles, Logan Paul, Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Becky Lynch and Lyra, and Cody Rhodes, John Cena. It like kind of went downhill afterwards.
Oh well, went down it. But Drew and Damian ended up being better than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
and Dominic winning was pretty sweet also.
Yeah, I knew, I had Dominic all the way to the last second because I was like, damn, because I wanted the point. I wanted the point.
I mean, granted, I guess I could have done that same thing with like, I said not overthinking. Like I could have obviously just said Hank and Tank, but I was just like, I'll let you know ahead of time. But I'm like, I'm not picking them. I can't do it.
I was like, we had both Dom picking, so this would have ended in a tie if anything else. But I was like, I really wanted the point, so I was like, I'll take the chance to say Braun maybe, but it didn't work. I'd say that's the second best match though. That was the second best match at night too.
Because the only regret that I would say I had is like, I allowed you to talk me out of Jade. Because I started typing Jade and I was like, damn, you're right. She did just come back and this is the same year. So we would have got a tie there. It would have been a perfect tie. But Joe Hendry surprise. That was nice. Neither one of us had Joe Hendry. Yeah. So that was cool, at least for. And then obviously John Cena is champion, the 17-time champion now.
John Cena as champion. And I didn't mind most of that match. But the ending, obviously, is the worst thing ever. Yeah. And I guess, like, I can if that's what they're going, if John Cena talking about ruining wrestling, I guess he accomplished his job.
My thought of that was, like, because of how basic he was and, like, what he continues to do, it's like, I think it's almost like a meta storyline. Like they're trying to say, "Oh, I can't wrestle, so I'm not going to," and him just doing double axe handles from like the '60s and shit like that, and like none of the, or just say more recent modern day, wrestling is gonna put a sour taste in some fans' mouths. You know what I mean? I think that's what. But I wonder how that meeting goes when when Trips is talking to Cody and he's like, "All right, we're gonna take the strap off of you and we're gonna like make wrestling bad," in a meta way. That's a interesting conversation. Just wonder how that went. You know,
I mean, again, I think what we've come to find out as we kind of move forward through WrestleMania, because we could kind of get into this as we talk about Raw.
Mhm.
This is not the original plan. We were right what the initial plan was. The initial plan was for Cody for the John Cena heel turn to happen at WrestleMania. He was supposed to be a
Yeah, it had to
face.
be.
He's supposed to be a face all the way through, and then the heel turn happened at WrestleMania. But apparently, The Rock, as he goes on to McAfee and explains, he says, "Hey, Nick Khan tells me, hey, can you pop over to Toronto because Elimination Chamber tickets ain't selling so hot, and so we need you to make an appearance." And that basically gets everything scrambled up. And then The Rock says he don't want to be at Wrestle. He didn't want to participate because he wanted the focus to be on what John Cena, and we can always get back to the other stuff and this that. The title of the show is Rocky WrestleMania.
Mhm.
You could take that many ways. I was surprised. I was like, WrestleMania as a whole, I enjoyed, but I can understand the vitriol that they've been getting, especially the way that they seem to be doing damage control with the
That's
ending
definitely
of
what
this.
they're doing. That's exactly
Yeah.
what they're doing. And just to go to the rock of it, I'm like, bro, like, there's no way you can control. Like, whose idea was it for you to go out there and cut your throat? That's what we want to know. Whose idea was it? Because we're not going to sit here and have a whole freaking, behind the scenes doc and from like WrestleMania last year and talk about how like, oh, I really wanted to do this thing and like, you know what? I figured let's just give Cody a story or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like you're this creative genius also. Clearly, I think creative is in a struggle between The Rock and Triple H because The Rock can just show up whenever the fuck he wants. We know Triple H is running the day to day, but that was not a written in. Oh, like Tripp said, oh, go out there behind Cody's back and slice your throat. He didn't say that, or I don't believe that. Do you believe that? Do you think Triple H told The Rock that when he showed up because it was a favor to the company because Nick Khan called him and said, oh, can you move some tickets for us?
I mean, you talking about the John Cena heel turn. You saying
Yes.
like that was Rock going rogue, Rock and Cena going rogue.
I'm not saying Cena. I'm saying, or sure, maybe because like I said, it was supposed to happen at Mania. We both believe that was happening at Mania. Whose idea was it to go out there at Elimination Chamber? He's saying it's Nick Khan, right? I don't believe that. Whatever. And even if it was Nick Khan to move seats, you don't gotta.
I believe Nick Khan probably told him, "Can you make an appearance at
make an appearance?" Chamber? That's what he said.
How does that appearance come about? What does that appearance look like? I don't know. I don't know who's making that choice.
That would be.
I know it's supposed to be Triple H. It's supposed to be Triple H. I'm talking about that situation in Toronto. I don't know who made that.
Exactly. And that's where I'm just laying.
I'm assuming if it's going to be involved like storyline like that, like is he? That is it's weird because again, John Cena had just won the Elimination Chamber, right? He literally just won the Elimination Chamber. He should have left the ring, but he didn't. So I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't know.
I mean, I'm not kicking Rocky's back in, but all right, we can move on from that. Because
I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying he definitely has some blame. I get if you don't want to be there, that's fine. But there's ways that you could have incorporated Travis Scott a little bit more throughout the week, throughout the weeks. You could have done video promos. Travis Scott didn't even need to come out, like actually come out. He literally just could have just interrupted with the video, and like. Maybe had Brandy kidnapped or something like that. I don't know. Something like something else. There could have been better. There could have been better execution, but to have Travis Scott slow bop his ass down that long ass WrestleMania ramp, get no licks in, and then like what John Cena hit him with the belt and got the 3.
Yeah, basically, low blow, belt shot, 3. And that's also what took the air out of it too. When you talk about ruining wrestling, there's no finisher. We're used to a finisher ending a match, right?
But again, I'm not mad about that. Again, the sequence of it's the sequence. If you gave me the I'm not going to wrestle for your entertainment, I'm completely fine with that. Mick Foley did that.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm just gonna be here, headlock, armbar. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could do this. We could do this. So that's fine. It's the awkward sequencing of events, the lack of development. Because again, we talked about it. Rock came out and did a promo on SmackDown a couple weeks after Elimination Chamber, and we were like, "This dude's stalling. He ain't saying nothing." Cody Rhodes, like I'm like, bro, say something.
We actually became friends and all this stuff, and it's like, bro, what are we doing here?
You just stalling out here.
It seems like ever since Elimination Chamber, it has been, like you said, damage control with him, or like trying to course correct with him because it was such like
since WrestleMania. I don't know if they've done damage control. He hasn't said anything. This is the first time he said anything.
Sure, but yeah, either way, John Cena.
Either way, John Cena came out on Monday to start the show and basically I thought I gave it a mid-rising promo. Talking about how he has 27 at the time of Monday Night Raw, 27 TV appearances, not wrestling matches, TV appearances, and they're counting down.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty well done.
That's what added to the meta-ness of it for me, where I think this is where like Cena's heelness is like bleeding over into like the weekly, programming. It's pretty cool to just know that you got like effectively a doomsday clock. You know what I'm saying? That's an effective thing to keep everybody engaged. You know what I mean? So that's cool.
I think Cena, the best thing that Cena had said, and I wish he didn't say it on the Pat McAfee show. I mean, not for the publicity, is more so it felt like he said the same thing, is that he went more in detailed on the Pat McAfee show, so it felt kind of repetitive once you heard it twice if you heard both comments. But I love the statement about, I'm taking the history. The same history that I always talk about. This is the WWE title that The Rock held, that Stone Cold held, that, that has Ric Flair and Hogan and Andre and Bruno Sammartino. Like that, we don't like that. I understand that there's the World Heavyweight Championship. That's the equivalent. They're peers. They're not the same. This is the one with all the history. And so with that I think is a strong sentiment. And the way he doubled down on it on Friday with the Randy promo, I even like that even further. So I enjoyed this. I like the countdown. I like the fact that it's all black. The lights are out, and it's just I hope that's the sequence of the entire time, even during the match. I just wish there was like, or after his matches, you just see that number come up, and then it's just like goes down.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
hope
perfect.
The countdown clock is always there.
Yeah, and then honestly, it should be just all black. Like when he came out at Mania and it was just straight, just his name. I was like, oh, that's perfect, because he's just doing the most basic, like create a wrestler template one. That's what he's doing, just in every part of his, wrestling right now. So
basic gear, t-shirt, hat, wristbands, all of it's like just basic.
But also, I put this as a primo for me since we're on Raw. I said, all I need is a faction name.
Yeah.
This is Seth, Braun, and Heyman. My loose champion of the week, because I didn't have a name for it. It's a bad name. So
yeah. I have a faction name. I had this as mid-rising, just because again, I'm curious to see where this heads. That's where we're kicking it off. We'll see where this goes. It's a surprise. I didn't expect it coming off of the end of what happened on the end of WrestleMania. Yeah. But I like it. It looked good. I saw comparisons to this being Seth Rollins' evolution. So somebody had pointed out like maybe he's Triple H, Paul Heyman's Ric Flair, I guess in this situation. Braun Breaker would be Batista.
Yeah, that's where I had that thought of like, dang, I wish he was like slightly taller. I don't know how tall Braun Breaker is, but like Seth isn't 6'4", is he? That seemed like really too tall for him.
I feel like he's like 6'2".
But yeah, he's clearly the muscle. Braun Breaker. Yeah. So that's where I was like, oh man.
My faction name for them would
6'1". Seth is 6'1".
My faction name would be the Revolution.
Yeah. Yeah, just to go to he's a revolutionary or the Vision, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I said the
As long as
revolution.
it's
Yeah, because he's a revolutionary, and these are the revolution. This is the revolution.
and
So
then
you
call
get.
up Ricky Saints early. You know what I'm
I
saying?
was
Like that's
thinking,
the revolution will be
if you had to add one
televised.
person, who would your third? If you had to add another person, who would your other person be?
Oh, that's easy. Becky. She just turned heel too. So I mean, but we
Okay.
know, for me, I'm always
Yeah,
about
yeah,
like
yeah. I
technology.
mean, okay,
So
but
it's
like
like
again,
we
within
should
the
have
general
them.
fabric. I mean, we could. I don't have a problem with. I'm specifically men superstar.
Yeah. Men, who would I have? Who's the next person that comes to my mind?
If again, whatever
Maybe like a Finn.
based off the
Finn?
theme that you
Oh,
want on your
okay.
team. I guess of
Revolution.
like what you think the team is. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it has to be like the evolution, like I'm saying, but
hmm
kind of getting that point across.
Yeah. Because really, the balancing act is the Paul Heyman part of it because he's so
Hmm.
interesting as a manager that like I can see him as being part of the group. But like when you think of evolution, it's like four of them. Not that it has to be four, but or if he's in that wise man spot, that would be Ric Flair, even though he's like a
Yeah.
non-combatant. So let's go. I mean, Finn came to my head, but I'm like, that's him just getting out of a group and going to another one. So no. I don't know who you got. Montez?
I can't ask you. I'm gonna ask you a question. You don't give me an answer.
Montez. I gave you my answer.
Okay.
Montez. That's a good answer.
Mine was Trick.
Trick. Okay.
Because again, I'm trying to fill in that Randy Orton spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking about people that, maybe similar builds or, charismatic. I think Randy's probably the better wrestler,
Yeah.
but I think Trick with
That's an
having a
inspired
Paul
choice.
Heyman. And then you can also have that dynamic because, Trick and Braun have history.
Mm-hmm.
And so
we on the main stage now. We got to get over the shit to get to the bag.
And so, but like they could still have that animosity. Like they could be like kind of like, think what's the Quentin Tarantino movie with Sam Jackson and John Travolta? Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Yeah, they could be like John Travolta and like Sam Jackson in that. And
yeah.
they don't necessarily have to dress in suits, but like they kind of have like a love-hate relationship with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they always get in each other's face, but they somehow work well to it.
It's a good business relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's an inspired choice. That's way better because I've been wanting him to reform Trick Mello game, but now that I think about like Miz is basically managing Carmelo now. That it's like, yeah, Trick's gonna need somewhere to go. And it was good to see Roxanne and Stephanie Vaquer on this week. Stephanie Vaquer in this episode challenges Io Sky, which I thought was sick as hell and was going well. So wasn't there interruption in this match?
Yeah. There's no finish. It was
exactly.
It was interrupted by it was Roxanne.
Roxanne
was like, she got a title match at NXT, so she was like, nuh-uh, we ain't doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, keep that strap on you. That's all I can take it off of you. Anything else?
I had that mid-rising. It was good. I enjoyed it. I appreciate the sparring match that we got because again, it's easily the best thing on Raw as far as match quality wise. I would say. But again, when you have these type of matches, this is just like, hey, isn't this fun to watch? And that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. There's no weight to it, so that's why it's mid-rising. But that's it is what it is.
And then we got some other. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say it's not surprising that we don't have a finish because it was title for title.
Of course, we're not finishing it. Yeah. But two huge returns. I mean, technically Becky returned at Mania and she was tag team champion, but went ahead and lost those belts because we both got that prediction wrong. Because they shouldn't have had it in the first place, but
I have this as my shake. Yeah, I have this as shake. The head scratching 24 hours for Becky Lynch in the tag team championships. It's like, man, like the whole situation with Becky Bailey, and then hearing her comments on the podcast, Chris Van Vliet podcast, that was like before the announcement that she was getting taken off of WrestleMania. Then Becky Lynch coming, winning the titles, having the press conference, then the next night just losing the titles, and it's just like. Then I'm like, man, what are we doing with these titles?
Yeah, right.
Like I hate to be like, these are just props, and you make it feel like a prop and a toy because like that's literally what there are. But I'm like, damn, like these titles just feel a little
flimsy. Yeah, I mean, because even
flimsy
for them to
is a
have,
good word.
yeah, because even though that they were tag team champions, it's not the story of those belts. The story is a singles person turning heel. It's not about the tag team championships like that, because the tag team championships are back where they belong. All that happened is now Lyra should be upset at Becky, which would indicate to me that Becky's going to be challenging her for the Intercontinental title at some point in time. You know what I'm saying? Unless she's just going to be happy-go-lucky, like, I just got to keep my head on a swivel, like she was my idol. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the worst thing that could happen to Lyra.
No, yeah, for sure. But I think this is more direct because again, we need a little bit more clarification of why Becky did what she did. Did she do it because she did it after the match? It didn't seem like they had any problems during the match, and so it seemed like she's pissed off that she assumes that Lyra lost the match for them, and she's like, "I'm Becky Lynch. I'm the man. I don't lose."
Yeah, that's the only thing that made sense to me in the moment.
So, what I hope, again, I just used this clip for Charlotte and Tiffany. I think Becky Lynch could do the exact same thing for Lyra. That whole thing was like, yo, let's see some personality, see some grit. They from the same hood, at least from like the same country. When I say hood, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know exactly where they from. I'm not sure.
They're Irish. They're Irish.
I'm saying, but like, I'm not sure what like the small geographical municipalities within like Ireland. Make it seem like the island that everybody know. Everybody in the island know each other. No, but I think it could happen. I think Becky could be Jean, Lyra is Sally, and I think we know Lyra is great in the ring. I think we're gonna see some personality come out of it, and I think Becky is gonna get in her face and talk her man shit. She's gonna try to make Lyra cry, and then Lyra gonna punch back and whoop her ass and retain her title.
Okay. But yeah, hopefully
retaining is a little early. I'll say retaining is a little early because it's still Becky Lynch.
You calling the retention? Oh, okay.
If you do it for Tiffany, you could do it for Lyra.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I have it at Shake, but that's why it's not in Reggie because I'm like I like the potential for it, but I'm just like head scratching. But yeah, Rusev returning, I had that as a mid rising. Again, that's where you get placed whenever like, debuts, returns, and new shit. It usually just gets mid rising. So
yeah,
kind of weird that he just came out and it just attacked Alpha Academy. I'm here for Otis and Rusev.
Yeah,
I wonder if Maxine is gonna leave Otis for Rusev.
Oh shit! He could get his CJ Perry back. Yeah,
but CJ Perry is on a WWE's Legends contract. So,
is she?
Yeah. So
yeah, the only thing it was missing to me was
there at Wrestlemania.
Rusev Udria, Rusev Machka. That's what I just love that at the beginning of his entrance theme.
Hey, you never know. They can still update it. They updated Penta's entrance. Ooh, you guys got Bashul Tootin. Virginia Tech running back. Tech running back from
nice.
Yeah, Virginia Tech running back. We're running 4-2-3. No, 4-2. Yeah, it was a 4-2-9 or 4-2-3 40.
You know how big he is? Height, weight?
Like 5'8", 209.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a little Mojo. For real. The Mojo is
he's good. He's good. He might have some fumbling problems. So
he'll add to the culture. We all got fumbleitis in the drugs. I'm done with Raw. How about you? You got any?
No, that's extended edition of Raw. Oh, actually, I feel like we just fell on time. It felt long, but it felt like we right on time based off of the time. Actually, a little early. Let's move over to the bodega. NXT. I popped my head into the store and I had nothing.
Yeah, I feel you. I put
the best thing I could find was probably I would put on Shake is like, hey, Thea Hale, I like the energy.
Yeah, I'm glad she's back.
I'm liking the energy. I'm liking the flavor that she's bringing. So, but I don't have anything. So this is all you. I'm clearing out.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a very like they blew their load at Stand and Deliver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like this was very much so a pretty nothing show because even I would say the best thing on here.
Inoffensive.
Yeah, there we go. That's a very
yeah.
yeah. Not too much was moved forward, but at least as far as in ring action, Stephanie Valkyria retaining against Roxanne Perez, fine. It just made it made sense for her to be there on Monday, as you brought up. I better not ever see Roxanne Perez again. Like I told you, or maybe it's got to be draft season, like I said. So draft season, Trick and Roxanne and Fraxium all got to be out of here. And Noam Dar returns from injury like forever. It had been forever since we've seen Noam Dar, and he gets back what's rightfully his. He gets the Heritage Cup back, and he's the only 4-time Heritage Cup winner, beating Lexus King, and that's like the big important news or like stuff that happened.
Yeah, and it's funny because right before that, Lexus King was cutting a promo against Ricky Saints, Pretty Ricky, what they call him, and it was supposed to be. It seemed like we were set for a Cup versus title match, but that's not happening anymore.
Yeah,
because I mean, I guess does Lexus King get his title match still for against Ricky Saints? It seems like that still happens. It just won't be a title for a Cup anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I think you still get the shot. Yeah. If anything, if anybody would argue against it, it would be Ricky Saints. I'd be like, yo, this loser, he can't challenge for this title.
At least it gives credibility that, like, okay, Lexus King can now maybe hold that belt. Because it'd be a lot to hold the belt and the cup. That's a lot of gold.
I love the Heritage Cup. Like, I think I'm all for titles that aren't belts. You know what I'm saying? Or championships that aren't belts. But that was the things that I cared about in
again, like there was Liv Morgan and Raquel versus with Gigi Dolan and not Gigi Dolan. It was
Tatum Paxley, Gigi Dolan, Chemical X. Yeah, that was them. And they retained, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm glad they did because I'm like, yeah, can we not make these titles feel paperweight? This is their 4th reign. They now have a 2-title reign lead over the next team that's ever held the women's tag team titles, which is fine. But I'm saying, like, your 3rd reign, you held it for like 2 weeks, and then you win it. And I'm like, all right, this is still kind of like your 3rd reign, but technically, yes, it's your 4th. But
I think also
these belts have been around for how many years, and it doesn't feel. It doesn't feel.
I would say the most legit.
Strong.
I mean, they are the most legit of all the tag teams. I don't believe it's just for the reign of it. You know?
Oh no, they're a good team. They're a good team.
Yeah, they are. But because I believe, well, actually, Liv is a 4-time. I think Raquel is only a 3-time because Liv was tag team champion with somebody else.
Rhea, I think.
Yeah, exactly, with Rhea, and that's their whole storyline was they were tag champs, and then Rhea turned on her. So, and then Bianca and Jade / Bianca and Naomi / shit. As Naomi
Sasha.
And Sasha. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that whole Black Girl Magic conglomeration is kind of amorphous, but those are the two most important tag teams. You know what I'm saying? Whatever combination of Black Girl Magic and then our current champions now.
Yeah.
So hopefully they cannot feel paperweight. That's all I was gonna say. And the last thing on there, we got another Joe Hendry appearance. And a warning from Obafemi to like, hey, don't make the same mistake Moose did. You know what I'm saying? Like, which
he's telling him, he's giving him wise advice because again, what is am I gonna enjoy Obafemi versus Joe Hendry? Sure, but that's just like, oh, champion versus champion type of shit. It's like it's more of just getting the experience off rather than actually, setting something interesting. So. It'd be cool, but again, I don't doubt Obafemi.
Yeah, there's no intrigue because you know the ending. Exactly. That's
the only way Obafemi is losing if he's challenging for Joe Hendry's TNA title.
Exactly. And that's the giveaway. Because originally when they had Moose and him, they were saying title for title. And I was like, what? No, that don't make sense at all. And then they had to backtrack that. And because really it should just be champion versus champion. You know what I'm saying? And like give it no stakes. That's when it's like, okay, I don't know who would win this. Because at least you could get a champion's clean loss to another champion from a different company. That's intriguing. But
we'll see what happens. It's again, it's a new season. So, you know, we're kicking off storylines, refreshing some. Well, it's funny because with the draft, like we don't really officially know, but we assume it's probably after Backlash. So in a few weeks, you know.
Yeah, definitely after Backlash.
Like Backlash is when in a couple at the end, like not the end of the month. I don't know when Backlash is, but
yeah, it's funny. I remember a few years ago. I don't know if that was last year or 2 years ago, but then they were calling it WrestleMania's Backlash, and I said, when did we start making it a possessive? Like that has never been the case. Like that don't even make sense.
Either way,
May 10th.
May 10th. So maybe you get that. Maybe you get
3 weeks.
Yeah, maybe you get the draft by like Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But what is that? One more NXT pay-per-view cycle?
Yeah, probably.
Because they have one at, I think they had, like, Worlds Collide is in June. So that's why. So either way.
Yep.
We'll see what happens with TNA, Joe Hendry, Roxanne, Trick, and see if there's any kind of movement on that side. But we are done with the bodega. And let's move over to Dynamite, into the coffee shop. But before we do, there is some sad current event news to pop up. Steve Mongo McMichael passes away from ALS. He was 67 years old. Steve McMichael, he's a former Chicago Bear. The reason why we're talking about him on wrestling, because he was a wrestler. He was on WCW. Shortly after McMichael, he ended. He moved on to a new sport. NFL career ended. He moved on to a new sport. He joined the World Wrestling Federation in 1995, touring with the New York Giants legend Lawrence Taylor's team. He then worked as commentator for World Championship Wrestling before getting back into the ring in 1996, eventually joining the Four Horsemen stable with Ric Flair. He was also the husband to Deborah McMichael. Deborah, that we remember from Attitude Era, that was also married to Stone Cold Steve Austin as well. So RIP Steve McMichael.
Rest in peace. Over at the coffee shop. Like the coffee shop. I got the primo that I got. Granted, this is probably mid. I think it's just a primo because of like how I labeled it. Just like I called it. Hayter is gonna win over Statlander. I enjoyed this match. Jamie Hayter advancing in the Owen tournament for an AEW title shot. This is probably the best thing on the show. At least as far as I'll take that back. I didn't put up the Kevin Knight tag team match. That was pretty insane versus Young Bucks. That'd be a primo too. In-ring stuff. But where are you with MJF and this Hurt Syndicate? I think personally that the apology like worked for me, but I'm just wondering how long is Bobbers, whatever MJF calls him. How long is he gonna hold out? Because what's funny to me is like, all right, last week you came here with women, and you're like, all right, Shelton likes women, I guess, because he's the one who like fell for it. But I'm like, would this be considered a W for him since Lashley took the car? He took the Corvette. So I'm like, is that? I think that's. I don't know. It was just kind of confusing. I don't think he's like voted him in, but he's just like stupid. I'm stealing your car. But I'm like, you're gonna get arrested, Bobby. So that's where I'm like, you can't just steal somebody's car. But it's a TV show.
I'm at mid-stable with this
Yeah.
storyline right now. It's better. It was better than last week. It feels cheap. Like as
Mhm.
far as like MJF is coming off as cheap, and I'm like surprised that like they're going along with this. Like I get it because like I'm not like obviously the gifts that are obviously valuable outside. Even like the women, if you want to call it, not even to like monetize women, but he's it just feels Bobby and Shelton, they also and MVP, they also roll in class.
Mhm.
So it just feels weird that these would just be the things that you guys are discussing. Like it doesn't feel like a negotiation. I feel like you guys would be negotiating in a much more elegant manner.
Yeah.
And this just seems like, yeah, I'm just gonna bribe you with gifts. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I don't know. This approach, this was better than last week, so I give it mid rising. I give
You
it
know,
mid stable compared to like almost having it in Reggie last week.
you know what this needs is like kind of like what you're saying, just at least a change of scenery. That's all it needs. Like it immediately came to my head is
Mm,
like the D'Angelo
that's a
family,
good
like how
call.
we constantly get that like shot of them like when they're steaming, they're at the restaurant. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They're sitting at the table. So it's like have Lashley and the Hurt Syndicate at like a cigar lounge or something. You know what I'm saying? Like them balling on some shit, and then MJF shows up and ruins the moment. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That would be cool. So instead of like coming out here weeks in a row, like, oh, you guys ready yet? I'm trying to convince you. Are you ready yet?
yeah.
Like, 'cause it's still that same thing, but at least, changing it up a
No,
bit.
no.
So
I
you
think
don't
that's a
gotta,
good call. I think cinematic cuts, like
yeah,
vignettes, would have been intriguing. But I think yeah, just I think there was just more elegance to sell Bobby and Shelton on this.
yeah.
I think that's where he's missing. I'm like, man, like, yeah, if you actually like really balled out the way that you say you are balling out, because right now you don't look like you balling out. You just seem like you maxing out your credit cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Seriously. I mean, because we get yeah, because absent makes the heart grow fonder. That's what we need. Because at least we'll get that taste of them without actually seeing them. And then that's two birds with one stone because you're continuing the storyline and also freeing up space for whoever else that you want to have actually in the ring at that point in time. Um, well, that said, it's an illusion. Just imagine the Young Bucks defeating Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey is on the Notion dock, and it's at Primo. All right,
Okay.
because there's a sequence there. Did you watch all of this match? There is a sequence where I believe it's a super kick, or it's like double super kicks individually, go all the way around, and then it's a double kip up, like Kevin Knight and then Matt Jackson kip up super kick each other in the face, go back down. Nick Jackson, Speedball Mike Bailey, kip up, super kick each other in the face, go back down. Then Kevin Knight and Nick Jackson, like, so now they switch the bad guys, kip up again, and like hit each other with a double crossbody. And then eventually you end all the way around in a four-way. I'm just like, yo, the timing of this spot is so
Yeah.
astronomical, let alone the athleticism to continuously lay there dead, all the core strength to just kip up, and do that like four times in a row and perfectly do that in sequence is like hype myself up. I'm about to watch it again after we get off of this. But like that kid Kevin Knight, this is how you make some people because we didn't know that's their new draft. These
Yeah.
two guys, Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey. So it's like, hey, it's working right now.
Yeah.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from both of them in ring for sure.
That's what's up. You say you got that in Primo?
Yeah, for sure. That would be the wrestling of standard of the week for AEW probably.
Yeah.
Um, and
I have
then oh yeah,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna get to Briscoe beating Ricochet.
Yeah, yeah. I'll let you talk on that. I was just happy about this because Mark Briscoe is kind of like Brody King to me. I remember because I actually kind of mixed them up a few weeks ago. But I was like, Mark Briscoe, I'm like, man, Mark Briscoe just seems like the guy they just picked up on the side of the street. He's like, hey, you want to wrestle? I'll wrestle. I'll do whatever.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think he actually knows what he's actually doing. Like, I'm sure,
We'd
like,
do anything
watch him
for
be
food.
like an intellect scholar, like, in real life. But, the character that he plays seems like a hobo they just picked up on the side of the street. And he was like, hey, we need somebody to take some bumps. You want $20?
Exactly. He's like, we'll work for food, like we'll wrestle for food kind of character.
Yeah.
And
But
I love, like, they say he's the grand master of like what is it, redneck kung fu? You know, they constantly because he gets constantly doing like like, you know, like hit people in the throat and stuff. So it's like he doesn't know. It's kind of wild. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
But yeah, I appreciate that. Like, you know, you could see him in these type of matches and be like, okay, yeah, he'll give you a good, entertaining match. But then eventually the other guy in this situation, Ricochet, would typically go over. He did it. He won. And so props for him getting this match. I think this was a Owen Hart Cup match.
Was it? No, I don't believe so.
No,
it
wasn't.
Yeah,
no,
just a regular match.
Either way, big win for him. And shout out to Mark Briscoe. So mid rising.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, I would have this mid rising also. And this was really this proved to me just once again how over Ricochet is, because this was the bald versus bald bowl, and like the crowd was just like giving it to both of them, obviously. But Ricochet is the one who's the heel, so he gets offended, and he's like, "Wait, is it me or him? Is this me or him?" And they're just like, "Bald, bald, bald." And they wasn't doing that for Mark Briscoe, so that's where I'm like, that's Ricochet just being over as a heel. But Briscoe actually getting the W over him, I thought was a good choice for sure, if anything, because I mean, we know Ricochet has the rocket to his back right now. You know what I'm saying? He's done better here than he's done anywhere else. So it's like at this point, he feels kind of I won't say indestructible, but I guess in this, he has the Mario superstar right now in AEW. I'll give him that. It'll run out. You know, he's not indestructible, but like however long, I'm enjoying this so much. But yeah, that's what I got from AEW. You want to? Oh wait, I'm sorry, I missed your shake. You got a shake here?
Yeah, last shake. It's small bit, small the clip. I didn't see the full segment, so I saw the clip. But Toni Storm was getting interviewed backstage, talking about how she was about to have a match, and she was like, "For any of the bitches that want to get blah blah blah," and then all of a sudden, who walks up to her? Athena. So
Galactus.
Seems like we're gonna get Athena versus Toni Storm tonight on Collision. So for people that are interested, tune in.
I'm absolutely interested. Are you effing kidding me? I must have missed that because there's no way that I would have, not said anything
it was in the
that.
like AEW Dynamite highlight recap. I was like, oh, okay, that seems pretty interesting and dope. So, anything else from the coffee shop?
No, that's it for me. Oh, this is an interesting comment that we got here, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Priz is still here. Hey guys, which match do you prefer for Mania 42 for Mariah May? Night 1, Liv versus Mariah for the U.S. title, or for the women's U.S. title, or Mariah May versus Rhea Ripley in a dog collar match, which that's basically Mariah's signature match. So I would much rather see Rhea. I mean, it depends on how strongly she's booked, obviously, because Rhea is like, between Rhea, like, you've been calling her the Stone Cold, Stone Cold and Bianca's the Rock. So it's like, I think that's an easy loss for Mariah, but it depends on how she's built, I would say. But the sound of it, that dog collar match versus Rhea, that might be one of the first times we see women bleed in like WWE. That's what that tells me for sure.
That's not the first time they've bled before.
One of the first times. That's all. I know we don't.
You make it seem like it never bleed. Like they're too dainty.
Like, hey, don't be hung up on my use of words. I just women don't bleed on WWE all that much. That's all. We agree.
Nobody bleeds
that much. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that's it for me.
I would say I haven't seen the dog collar match, but just the matchup would be interesting of Rhea versus Mariah May. I think to your point, if they book Mariah May in the form of like maybe like Jade Cargill, I could see it. I could see that happening, and I'd be entertained by that. Liv versus Mariah for the U.S. Championship. That'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how Liv get the U.S. Championship. I guess she would take that wood off of, I guess, spoiler alert, is Zelina Vega. But maybe she means Intercontinental, and let's say that's Lyra or Becky.
Either way.
Yeah. I'd go Rhea, but I think it's Rhea just has the body type. I think just to kind of see like the two physical statures of both women, it'd just be appealing on itself. I wouldn't even need the dog collar match. I'm just like, that'd be an interesting dynamic, but I think I don't know how well I don't know how refined Mariah May's wrestling ability is that maybe the dog collar match helps mask some of the things that she may be able to not do in a straight up singles match. So we'll go with the dog collar. Good question.
Yeah, dog collar match. Yeah, Book of Wrestling. We gonna do that intro?
Yeah. If I can find it. Okay.
In the Book of
We are
Wrestling.
at the Book of
we hit our
Wrestling.
joint.
The gallery. Eat my donut. Drink my coffee.
Only 2 entrants into the Book of Wrestling this week. I did not make the match entrant because I was matched out. This was WrestleMania week. I'm not watching extra wrestling in the fucking most concentrated wrestling week. So I gave myself this week off. Only 2 entrances. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, everyone. I'll take the more recent of the 2. April 25th, 2000. David Arquette, WCW champion. Jesus.
Yeah.
One of the most infamous title reigns in WCW history took place when actor David Arquette became WCW champion at a Thunder taping in Syracuse, New York. The change came during a tag team match when Arquette teamed with WCW champion Diamond Dallas Page against Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff. The rules of the match stipulated that whoever scored the pinfall became the champion, and with the Screen Star pinning Bischoff, he secured the big gold belt, to the horror of wrestling fans across the globe. Like that image is so like burned into my mind, and this is where I'm like so happy that, like I told you before, I was never a WCW person, or I never was engaged that much enough to like actually know what's happening. It was just like, oh, I caught wrestling today on this random channel, you know. So as a halfway historian now with this Book of Wrestling, that we have this absolutely must go in there as like, you know, one of the darkest days in the history of fandom, I guess. I could only imagine how bad this would be if I actually cared during that point in time.
I mean, we just talked about the women tag team titles being flimsy.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. David Arquette.
this is like hold my beer.
Yeah, seriously.
Because I mean, again, and David Arquette, if you've gone, I think there's a dark side of the ring about this. That, you know, he was like, bruh, I don't think you should do that. Because he actually has respect for, like, you know, what business is. And he actually tries to be, like, at least an amateur wrestler. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, doing, like, indie shows and stuff like that. I think even till maybe to this day, I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that. But I will say, you kind of blanketly dog on WCW. And I'm like, this is 2000. And I'm like, so this is definitely like they only got literally a year left.
Yeah.
Less than a year. Because they closed out like what, March 31st, 2001? Or well, that was the last. That was when like Vince McMahon and Shane bought when they did the Nitro, the last Nitro.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much left at this point. I do think the problem with WCW was many things. A lot of it's just the main guys just had too much control. And like we talk about with AEW, where it feels like it's just a bunch of independent motherfuckers just trying to get their shit off, and just like, who really is this Tony's show or whose show is it? And that's kind of what it felt at times. It's like, whose show is this? Because if you look at like the undercard, or like, you know, you look at anything from the mid card below, pretty good stuff. You know, especially, you know, when you had the actual talent before they went to go to WWF. But man, yeah. David Arquette winning the title, and then, you know, this also rolled into the movie that they had, the wrestling movie. What was it? Ready to Rumble?
Oh, Ready to Rumble? Yeah.
That's where they had the 3 stages of hell. Cage match and what, so wild time. Wild time. Can't believe it happened. I'll take the second one.
Yep.
On April 26th, 1992.
This is
Jimmy.
also for me. But this week I just found this out, so that's why it's also double tagged.
This Jimmy Superfly Snuka became the first ECW champion. What? ECW Extreme Championship Wrestling? Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say. No, in 1992, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the single-day title reign of first ever Eastern Championship Wrestling champion Jimmy Superfly Snuka was ended by Johnny Hotbody. I'm not familiar with Johnny Hotbody, but Eastern Championship Wrestling. So this is right before Paul Heyman joined and it was bought. But yeah,
And
that was
turned
the
into
name before it
ECW.
was. Yeah, before it was called ECW. Extreme Championship Wrestling was called Eastern Championship Wrestling, but same title, same history.
Exactly. And I was like, Jimmy Superfly Snuka's the first ECW champion.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. So
I believe the
that's why
first
I tagged it. I was
actual
like, huh.
ECW champion, Extreme Championship Wrestling, I want to say is Mike Awesome. I could be wrong. It could be Mike Awesome or it maybe was Taz. I forget. I should check that while I do that. Give us some dialogue, Moody.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't think. I mean, obviously, when you're more so the historian, more so than I am. So, like, really, it was more so just like a recoil thing when I see Superfly and ECW together, because, like, obviously, like you said, there is a difference between the originality of what it was, which is Eastern Championship Wrestling versus Extreme, but it definitely made my eyebrows go up when I saw that. And I was like, oh shit. And it was only a 1-day reign. So I was like, oh, maybe he just did it, as a favor real quick, legitimizing.
Yeah.
I guess how legitimate is a single day? But at least you can say that he held the belt.
Becky held the tag team titles for a day.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
but you can always say
he won it back. He won it back. So it wasn't just a one. He's the third champion. He won it right back off of Johnny Hotbody.
Okay, hey, he was there. He's putting the work in. He built it. So that's interesting.
I'm trying to see when did it become Eastern Championship Wrestling. Extreme. Okay.
Extreme.
The Sandman was the first Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Okay. That's what's up. But yeah, those are our entrants into the book of wrestling this week.
Oh, sorry. Shane Douglas.
Okay.
Yeah, Shane Douglas. I remember that because I'm like, there's a famous clip of him throwing the title. The title was like the North American World Heavyweight Championship, and then he threw it, and then they renamed it the Extreme Championship Wrestling, and they recognize him as starting the title. August 27, 1994. So, that's the history books of the Book of Wrestling. Anything else?
Absolutely.
From the gallery?
That is it. That is it.
And we can stop by at the final stop on the week because there's no pop-up show. There is a TNA show, but we do not do pop-up shows for TNA quite yet, unless there's like a major show. But let's get to the boutique. SmackDown. Fairly good show. I'm gonna just be completely biased and start with my primo, and that is
just so you're aware. I missed the majority of this, which is why it's blank. But I was catching up this morning trying to watch clips and stuff. Okay, but yeah, go ahead. I just want to preface that. You got a point on this.
I'll say I was watching the NFL draft as well. So this was SmackDown was small screened it was tablet while the draft got the main screen. But you know what? I talk about wrestling being entertainment across the board. This is a good barometer of saying how much did the TV show of SmackDown get my attention away from the draft. And if you did, you were successful with SmackDown. I consider that a great segment. Primo, best thing I saw on the show. I don't care if it's biased or not. I don't care what you say with the match is. I don't care what the match was. Zelina Vega defeated Chelsea Green and is United States Women's Champion. Let's go.
Congratulations to Zelina.
Well deserved. And she did it before her husband, Aleister Black, made his return. And so she literally won her title, went to the back, and just probably stayed in Gorilla. Dapped up her husband to be like, go out there and have fun. And then sat there, and then he came back, and then they celebrated. So all around great night for her.
This is definitely at least a top 3 favorite night at work for her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because Backlash 2 years ago is obviously top
that's
3.
definitely
But the return of her husband back to work and actually getting her first title, she's gonna remember that
within
for a
like
long
10 minutes
time.
of each other. Yeah.
Exactly. So that'll be dope. That's dope for her.
Aleister Black have that as a mid-rising, but I want to primarily talk about Zelina Vega winning this. So yeah, shout out to Zelina Vega. Purely biased. I don't care what the match quality was. Just deserves it. And I hope it's just the beginning and she eventually gets women's heavyweight championship at some point.
Yeah. And if anything, I could only imagine that the Secret Harvest was definitely out there. So I know that they interfered. So
They threw him
just
out.
the fact
And
that
as soon as they got thrown out, that's when she hit the
Code Red.
what's the Code Red, and then got the 1, 2, 3.
Okay, good. Because that's what I was like, for sure. I know, like, there's not a chance in hell that Zelina's not going to get victimized by Piper Niven. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that senton is right there. So, but I'm glad to hear. I will say the only other thought that comes to my mind is that I was so much more in on Chelsea than I was Lyra. So I would have had Lyra dropping the IC title before Chelsea, but that's fine. Either way, it doesn't
Chelsea,
matter.
Again, like she's over. She doesn't need the belt. It's nice. She's gotten over with the belt, and then now you have the Secret Harvest. Now I'm curious to see if she continues with that gimmick now that she doesn't have the US title. And like what is the group now? Do they still have that design?
That's a good question, because that's what I would wonder too. It's like, well, if you're not the champion, you can't be the president, right? You're not representing the United States. The president
always keeps the Secret Service, though.
True. Yeah, that's true. So I guess she just relies on their loyalty, like that. She'll complain.
She's gonna be on a re-election campaign.
Yeah, she'll complain.
It was stolen. She's gonna go whole Trump with it. It was stolen. Everything. This is a fraud. No, she'll make it work. She'll make it work.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I have no question she'll make it work. I'm just imagining like talking shit to Sir Nicholas the Prickles, like she calls him. Oh my god, all her just like names for everybody. That's very Trump-like too. No Flavor Ava, Sir Nicholas the Prickles, and like Adam P. Head Pierce. I'm like, dang. But yeah, Zelina got her title. That's dope.
Aleister Black returned, and he Black Mask.
Is this a match?
Miz. No.
Oh, just
Miz came out talking about just being disrespected, and I'm Miz, and typical Miz shit. Cuts a great promo, and then
being a company guy for the moment.
Yeah, great. Cuts a great promo. Aleister Black comes out, Black Mask, kind of like Rusev. It's like we just needed a return moment, and so you taking this L right now. I don't know if it leads into a feud with the Miz. Maybe it's Miz and Carmelo Hayes. I don't know, but it's good to see Aleister Black back. And again, it happened right after his wife won her first singles championship in the company. So all around great night for them. Mid-rising. Fraxium defeating Los Garzas. Fraxium making their SmackDown debut. Or main roster debut, I assume.
They've made debuts like individually, never together.
Yeah, they haven't done
Nathan Frazier and Axiom have had matches. Yeah.
This is mid-rising, but I also say that Fraxium has like the AEW thing where AEW is so good at the wrestling matches that I'm like, would be a primo on a WWE, because you all do it so often and it's so abundant. It's like, how do you like dislike? Like some of it's just mid-rising, just because you have to put it at mid-rising. For them, it's like their matches are so good. I'm like, man, again, this is a debut, so it's mid-rising. But I'm like, there's gonna be weeks where I'm just gonna be like, man, y'all just put on great matches, and I can't give y'all primo every week. So sometimes it's gonna be mid-rising just to be mid-rising.
Except for, I will say, watching like a Nathan Frazier, like I did see, that was one of the clips I did get to see, was part of this match, and like when Nathan Frazier goes for the Phoenix Splash on Umberto, I believe, bro, he's like 2/3 of the way across the ring. Like, and you see, like, I'm like looking at Nate, and you see him line it up. He looks over his shoulder, and I'm like, yo, that is quite the distance. I'm like, yo, that's so fucking, just far and amazing. You know what I'm saying? For you to like still hit it perfectly all the way over there. I'm like, bro, like I don't know. I felt like he chose the. It's like when you get taking a test, and it's like you got the right answer, but you did the wrong math to get the right answer. You know what I'm saying? That's how I kind of felt about it. But either way, they're awesome.
Other thing that I liked, and this is almost pretty much a primo. This is like on the cusp of being a primo. I think initially out of the primo, I put it at mid rising at the last minute. But I really like the Cena Orton primo. I thought this was better than Monday. I like that they immediately got direct with one another. I like that Cena, again, talking about the history of the title and talking about taking that legacy home with him and sitting it on his mantle and being the last person to be with that. He's like being direct with Randy, talking about, I'm going to take the title that your dad never was able to hold or whatever he said. But like 3 generations of Ortons, are associated with this title. That shit's sitting on my shelf. I'm going to take your legacy home with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do it in your hometown in St. Louis. All right, cool, bet. That's what's up. Like, right there, already got the match. Like, you already got me
erasing his legacy or erasing 3 generations.
Yeah, I was like, you already got me excited for the match. You know what I'm saying? Like, the real reason where I keep this mid rising is because I'm like, this is the first week, and we have what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, 4 weeks? At least it's a quick Backlash is a quick one. So yeah, it'll be like 3 weeks. Yeah. But that's May 10th. This is the 26th right now.
Right now, but this was a great kickoff to the Randy.
Actually, no, that's 2 weeks from now. That's 2 weeks.
Yeah. So this is a great kickoff because again, when Randy came out and RKO'd Cena on Monday, I was like, okay, yeah, Backlash is in St. Louis, fine, like we're cool. But now you're giving me the added context on the story. I'm like, all right, it's gonna be fun to see Randy Orton and John Cena for the last time. Yeah, Randy's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that'll be dope.
Great.
I think. How many do you think Orton gets the title again? I mean, not at Backlash, but like just in time.
By the time is all said and done for Orton. How many times do I think that he gets it? I say he gets it 16.
So he gets it 2 more times. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get it cracking.
I don't know. I think Charlotte breaks it.
How old is Randy? I know that's what you were saying before. That was the recording that you said that I told you hit me the wrong way. But she should.
Well, she's at 13 or is she at 14?
She's at 14.
She's at 14. So
yeah, her and Randy.
She would need to win it 4 more times. I don't even know.
Randy's 45. April 1st. So his birthday just passed, but he's 45. Just for context. So you need 2 more.
Both of them need to win the title at least 4 more times just to break this dude. That's why.
To break the record, yeah.
Yeah. That's why. I don't even know if Charlotte's going to be around that long to win it 4 more times.
Yeah.
Unless you have like these quick.
Charlotte's 39.
Rings. Yeah, exactly. But again, like, Charlotte can do a lot of different things. I wouldn't be surprised for her to just be like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of these petty women just getting at me and whatever, and just get into career of acting or something like that, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason that I told you I was so upset about Asuka losing, like when she did to Bianca at Mania a few years ago, because at that point in time, she was, let me look up how old Asuka was, but I was like, Asuka was 41 then? And I was like, bro, like, just naturally.
We talk about it. What does it mean? What does it mean to be 40 in the WWE?
Exactly. And I mean, obviously, because we know the guys go until like, in their mid 50s some goddamn times. The women obviously are usually on a way shorter timeline. So it's like Asuka's 43 and she's basically disappeared more so recently. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with injury and then weirdo niggas like recently too. Yeah. So shouts to her. But like she's staring at the same barrel as Asuka right now, around that time. She's still younger than her at that same point in time, like set 39 to 41. But yeah, it's not, like you said, it's not a lot of track left.
Yeah. That's the only thing that happens is like 4 last time again. But if she could also again, like her dad, just come back and take 2 years off and then come back and win the title. Yeah, like she doesn't need to win it before she's 50.
Yeah,
she doesn't need to break the record before she's 50. There's no timeline. There's no age that she needs to get it by. As long as she can win it, she could be Mae Young age and win that joint. She could be 70
Then
years
break-
old
then
and win
break
that
it.
joint.
That's a dope trajectory for her. If Charlotte turns into the Mae Young of the next generation, and like she's still around at like 90,
Yeah.
like getting power bomb through tables and shit, like she'll be like our new Betty White in wrestling. That'd be dope. But yeah,
Last bit of SmackDown I wanted to talk about. Well, two bit. Um, women's bloodline finally forming.
I'm interested in what you mean by this. What is this talking about?
So there was Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton match, which I was like, first I was gonna put that on the card, on the match, then on the list. That ended in a no DQ. That ended in a disqualification because Naomi came out and was attacking Jade.
Jade.
Cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Naomi. I like her outfits now with the caution tape and stuff like that. It just reminds me of Owen Hart. I'm not sure if that's like a direct homage to Owen Hart, but he used to have a lot of similar gear. And then Nia Jax makes her return and
I assume
attacks
attacking
Tiffany.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm about to say,
And
yeah,
so-
she must be attacking Tiffany because
You know,
it's like they just wanted us to forget about Nia. It's like, no, I know, like she hasn't
Yeah.
been used, so it's like y'all just put the. I understand you're building Tiffany up, and that's why she won at Mania, but I'm like, bro, Nia still exists. Like it's not.
yeah,
like,
but see the fact that again, now that Tiffany is face, she's not like tweener. She's like
Mhm.
she's a face coming after Charlotte. Now you can go back to an OG heel, like
yeah.
a heel that we meant to have as a heel in Nia Jax, and you know, this is a different type of Tiffany. This is not Tiffany that was subservient to Nia for
Queen
however many
Nia.
months. Yeah, Queen
Yeah.
Nia. This is, you know, Tiffany that just beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. So
Mhm.
I'm intrigued by that. But backstage, Tiffany, Charlotte, no, both of them. Naomi and Nia bumped into each other, and Nia was like, "Hey, next time, you know, stay out of my way, blah blah." And then Naomi was like, "Next time, you know, proceed with caution," or some shit like that. And then just kind of walked away. But then Nia kind of just gave like this kind of like weird smirk. She's like, "What? That's weird," or whatever, some shit. It was kind of a funny bit. It was a little bit of a
okay.
funny bit, but it was like, hey, that was like the first time I've actually seen them interact almost cordially. And because usually they're on opposite sides. Usually Naomi's always been the face and Nia Jax has always been a heel. Now you're both heels. They didn't acknowledge bloodline. They just was like, hey, stay out of my way. But it seemed like the beginnings of
okay.
a forming of a partnership between Naomi and Nia Jax. Am I holding my breath for a women's bloodline that we've been talking about for how many goddamn years? No, that's why it's in shake.
Yeah.
But the fact that they possibly tease some type of an alliance between them is just gets me my eyes a little bit open. The last thing I want to leave off with SmackDown. I don't know how I feel about this. So I feel like I put this in two places. The match, I guess, the TLC 3-way, the match, I guess, is a primo.
This is.
But
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
the fact that it was on SmackDown, and I said it. What took my attention? It didn't take my attention away from the draft. And my team had already picked. We had one pick last night at 61, so I'm watching other people pick.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And the
interesting.
fact that this is on SmackDown, it almost makes it feel like the TLC match. Almost feel like it was like a regular cage match.
It's funny because like so Bleacher Report has this as an A+, and you know they
Yeah.
don't give out like A+ is like, you know, match of the year contender or whatever, you know, best thing ever.
Mhm.
So that's what I was about to say is that like I feel stupid by not seeing this. You know, I haven't not even a single second yet. So it's just like, damn, I'll have to watch it. But like with you telling me that, I'm like, okay, that definitely takes a lot of wind out of the sails. You know what I'm saying? As far as like
I
intrigue
guess I'm
and
more bummed out that this match is just on free.
SmackDown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah, 'cause
don't
we were
want.
both
I
upset
don't want to
about
see a
that.
TLC match on SmackDown. It feels like I'm not getting the full. It feels like
It's
I'm
like-
getting the value meal of a TLC and not the full TLC experience. Even though like the
Well,
match was
yeah.
great and they did dope shit. You'll see some cool spots in there. I'm not going to spoil it for you when you watch the highlights or however you watch it, but like there are some really great moments. Montez Ford is a monster. He climbed a ladder that I've never seen anybody climb that ladder before.
Yeah.
But
the giant one.
why? But why am I sitting here? Like again, I just was like, maybe I was already turned off coming into it, so I'm not the best barometer because
Okay.
I was like, this should have been. I gave it a Reggie that this was even gonna happen this week, so I was like,
yeah,
this is BS.
I mean, I feel you on that, but that's got to be taken in the vacuum of like, hey, the guys can't help where they're slotted because we know we
That's
wanted.
what I said. The match is a primo.
Yeah, we wanted
match is a primo. The booking is Reggie.
Yeah, because we wanted the WrestleMania at least Fatal 4-Way. That's what I wanted, at least 4. But yeah,
it's worth your watch. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it after we get off of here. And if anything, I mean, it's on SmackDown, so like at WWE on USA YouTube channel. Usually, if you got like something like this, they'll put up the whole clip, or at least like an extended like 10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
And Street Profits retain, even though it wasn't on WrestleMania. We both had them retaining at WrestleMania in our fake booking anyway. So
yeah. Did you have any thoughts of anything that stood out to you for the things that you did catch up on SmackDown?
Yeah, we already talked about Aleister Black, Zelina. Zelina was really, honestly, like you said, the biggest thing. Like I would have also put that in the primo. Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, and then just getting jumped by Jacob Fatu. I will say that. I'll put that as like a mid-rising for Jacob's first feud, hopefully being Drew. Or maybe not first. I mean, it seems like LA Knight obviously wants his rematch, but we're going to get that number 1 contenders match next week. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Or that was actually last night, but Jacob attacked them both. So that tells us usually in a Backlash or like with a pay-per-view coming up so quickly is like, oh, you want to interfere? Here's your triple threat match then. So his first defense will be, I'd rather see Drew straight up first though. But I guess that's kind of tough to like make Drew lose straight up to Jacob, I guess. I mean, for me as a fan,
you always got Solo or Tama. Maybe Tonga eventually comes back. I don't know. You got people to make it. Add some shenanigans into it.
Yeah, you're right. Because he's always getting. That was the origin of his whole character is getting screwed out of stuff, and that's why he turned heel. So, yeah, just got that on my mind, and it came in there with the backwards,
Raiders jacket,
Raiders
jersey.
Yeah, which I was.
Did you see the clip of him like on he was on a podcast, and you know how like people they'll have like ads. And they'll kind of blend it into the way they're talking into their conversation, kind of like Corey on Double Toasted. He'll kind of just like, oh, you know what? You should get some HelloFresh, and then just kind of jump into an ad. The dude did something similar. He was like talking to Jacob, and then the dude was just like, yeah, man, and this is what happened, man. Like that's why you gotta be conscious about how you spend your money and this, that, and the third, and that's why you gotta get Chime. And then Jacob was like, yo, you just hopped right into the joint.
No, that was funny as hell. That was on Club 520. That was the Jeff Teague podcast. I watched that clip too. Yeah. That was high key, like one of the funniest things because he kept coming back to it too. Like Fatu was in the middle of everybody. And he was like, bro, how do you do that so seamlessly? And he was like, yo, it's behind your head. And then just he turned behind him and it's like literally neon light and it says, bro, it's right here. He was like, yo, Jacob, like, and
he just gave Chime a free commercial.
Exactly. No, that's exactly. And then I guess might as well put the Frost and Sprinkling on here. But like also in that same clip or podcast I'm listening to it, they cracking up. And Fatu was telling a story about, one of his homies or some shit. And like, but they was still laughing so hard about the whole Chime thing. You hear Fatu say, man, yo, nigga was tripping or whatever. I remember I looked at the comment. It was like, I knew he was one of us. I told you, like, Polynesians have always been black-coated, especially in WWE. But it's like, if you're coming out of the Bay, and, like, he says the same thing, like, Bay, in that
Vegas area, like, that's where they rep,
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's where he's from. But, yeah, he was like, all of, like, Northern California teams he supports. He was like, even Kings. He was like, I'll get my Vlade Divac bag. Like, if you give me time. Like, so, yeah, that was a dope appearance, so.
That's sick. Let's go. Okay, we are finally here on a Saturday. Saturday today, we got our champions. We got 2 champions. I'll
go with mine first. I'll go with mine because mine isn't actually a good one. So mine is the white privilege failing upwards championship going to Braun Breaker for obvious reasons because of the segment that we said. And it's like, I get that you're a two-time champion, and like in shoot world, like obviously you're two-time champion. Let's do something else. But I'm like, bro, you just lost again, and you're not concerned with it. But it's like, if I'm in kayfabe, but Seth Rollins comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, I got this." It's him and Paul Heyman come up to me, and they're like, "Yo, we saw what you did. This is the perfect opportunity for you to be part of Revolution or something special." You know what I mean? I'm dropping that title. I'm forgetting about that title immediately. Are you fucking kidding me? So I was just like, the fact that he lost what should have been up to that point in his life, the most important thing to him. And then 20 seconds later, he's like, fuck that. Like, I got a new opportunity. I'm like, this is the white people failing upwards. White privilege standing out right here. Like, somehow it was between white privilege and Nepo Baby. Maybe it's Nepo Baby. And Drew hit on that this week too. And he was like, this goddamn company giving free handouts to Nepo babies. Speaking of which, hey, Bloodline, when they're in the ring already.
And that's why I say Seth Rollins is the perfect person for this situation. I mean, him aligning with Braun Breaker doesn't fit my title, but his song says it all. Sometimes you just got to listen to the song of the wrestlers. Bianca says it all. I'm on my own. Against the world, you can never see me fall.
Or solo, I'm taking it all. Like I told you about that. I was like, nah, he coming for Roman. I'll take it.
What does Seth Rollins' music say? Burn it down. Burn it down. Burn this bloodline tree down. Burn down his goddamn Cody Rhodes legacy family and all the road shit. Burn down the goddamn Orton. We don't need these legacies. We need old legacies. We need new legacies if you're building them. These are Bern Steiners. We don't need old legacies.
This will be a great
legacy. Rollins Lynch.
For Seth in this faction. I'm excited for this Rollins faction for sure. Like a heel.
Yeah.
Full on heel faction. We'll see how this goes. But
it'd be nice to see if Becky officially get put on as if she is put on into that group as she
that would be sick. Yeah, because we know Becky is she's one of the 4 horsewomen. She can hold a title whenever she wants.
Yeah. But again, it seems like they got you. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss next week. We'll see what comes out of the. We won't pontificate right now on it. My champion is the basketball Illuminati. Do you believe? I don't know if I do. Do you believe?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you do. Maybe you don't.
I listen to that shit. Yeah.
To baby girl who still believes in Joe Hendry. So let me share my screen for real quick. I was scrolling through Twitter and then I came across this post that Joe Hendry had commented on and shared with us, shared with people. It's this little girl who hears Joe Hendry's music and says that she believes.
Easy.
Joe Hendry said amazing.
Yeah.
She actually hits that whole thing. I'm like, oh, like you really hitting it. Especially you'll see at this part. Got the guitar. And then she hit the wave. She be hitting the wave on point.
Yeah, we got our huge Joe Hendry fan right here.
I believe in Joe Hendry. That's great. I was like, that's sweet. So
that poor baby's gonna watch Obafemi give him a fall from grace.
Yeah, she's going to cry. Stop hurting him! He's dead. Stop it already. That's gonna be. Yeah. What's that? The Simpsons. Stop it already. He's dead. So I saw that. I just love that. So shout out to her. She gets the basketball Illuminati. Do you believe? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. Title award. She believes. So That's gonna
Man,
be a
this has
fun.
got to be.
That's gonna be a fun award. I'm gonna like giving out because I'm like, man, it could be sometimes you maybe believe, maybe you don't. Sometimes
Yeah.
you believe and you can get the award, and sometimes if you don't believe, you could also get the award. So that's gonna be the. I'm gonna try to use that a little bit, not often, but enough that we have some title reigns built under that one.
I mean, and that's just like one of those perfect examples of like just the silly music. Like you don't need to have like
Yeah.
a serious, you know what I'm saying, like whole production behind it. But as long as it's good, I guess music quality, it's fine.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I enjoy all. I enjoy all the
every
music
time
from
because that's one of the
Count
things.
the Dings.
Because I'll usually skip pods like intro music depending, but like that's one of them that I'll like let play. Like every time I let that one play. So
and I like the regular basketball Illuminati too. The
I always let that
one.
Play.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite straight up just basketball pod in general. Basketball Illuminati. Yeah. But we should like give ourselves an award for giving us like a Jackie Robinson 40-second episode perfectly finished. And also in under 2 hours. This is WrestleMania week, under 2 hours.
Right.
I think we just didn't give a fuck this week. Like I'm exhausted.
I didn't have anything for NXT, so I know I didn't give a fuck for that.
Yeah,
and then
so we were exhausted. That's what this was. But
we talked about the important things. We talked about the important things. We answered fan questions. Glad for the participation for people that joined us during this live episode. You can catch us on all Spotify podcasting services or wherever you listen to your podcast. In a little bit, I'll upload it and whatnot. If not, you can also catch the live stream later on YouTube. Moody, what else can they do?
Yeah, well, like you said, the YouTube channel, give us a like, comment, subscribe here. This is our main communication to you guys. Give us a follow on our TikTok, and we also got an Instagram too. Everything at The Wrestling Re-Up, no hyphen. Or send us some fan mail at thewrestlingreup@gmail.com. That's what I got for y'all.
And that is it, everyone. That is episode 42 in the books. Another perfect episode, and we'll be back next week for episode 43. I'm already thinking about who 43 is.
Darren Sproles, right?
Maybe. I would need confirmation on that, but we have time. Yeah. We don't need to come up. We don't need to figure it out right now. We can figure it out later.
This is the end. Yep.
This is the end, and I don't want to beleaguer 10 more minutes. We've done something impressive, and let's keep it that way.
Extremely so, yeah.
And we'll catch y'all next week, everyone. Peace.